Okay, so let's get right to it. As I said in the intro, the whole crew is with us here. And let's just start at the top, guys. John Johnson is the Browns' first free agent splash of the offseason. They agreed to terms with him. Pretty good sized contract, as Mary Kay wrote just before we started recording this here on Monday night. Not the most money he could have made. Still plenty of money for John Johnson. So let's just do this. Let's kick it around this way. Your initial reaction or what it told you that John Johnson is the guy that the Browns signed. Mary Kay, why don't you start us off?
Well, the first thing that came to my mind was it's a tremendous signing. It really is. I mean, he's probably the best safety on the market, one of the best players that was available in free agency. And one of the first things that came to my mind was that they really do have to protect themselves in the event that Grant Delpit can't be everything that they hoped he would be, or perhaps that he can't be all of that in his first season back on the field from a ruptured Achilles tendon. Not only will they play a lot of three safety packages, they have to cover themselves in the event that Grant Delpit just isn't able to be the player right away that they expect him to be. Now, I really think, I mean, the tremendous hope is that he will be that. And they had such great expectations for him. But now they are 100% covered. And in the event that he comes back healthy, this is one of the best safety rooms potentially in the NFL. This is a really, really good group. John Johnson can basically do it all. And you know, he's tremendous in tackling. You know, he's great in coverage. He can play free. He can play strong. And I think it's a great acquisition.
Doug, what did you think?
Get to me. Who on this list, who on this podcast had safety at the top of their free agency list? Not you, not you, not you, not you, me. This is perfect. So I see Ellis texting. I should have seen this coming. What do you mean you should have? I did see it coming. This is the most important thing they had to do. So I said Anthony Harris for 14.5. It's John Johnson, who was my second choice for 11.25 per year. This ties the whole defense together. Mary Kay's exactly right. Nickel is the base. Nickel is the base. Nickel is the base. They're going to play three safeties all the time if Delpit's healthy. And if he's not, you're covered. So it helps you both ways. It's the number one thing they needed to do. Now, we'll get to it. I'll be curious to see what you guys think about. Will they get an edge rusher? Will the edge rusher signing maybe still be more money or more important than this? Or is this the big splash? You know, just because you're first doesn't mean you're the biggest, but I think I think it will be the biggest. It's the number one thing they had to do. It ties it all together. It's great.
Ellis, why didn't you see it coming? Come on.
Yeah, no, Doug's right. I did not see this one coming in the sense that I didn't think this would be the big splash. Joe Woods needs to win by rushing 4 and creating pressure that way. And perhaps both positions are equally important. It's actually interesting that may be the case now building in Cleveland, because Johnson's coming from a defense that had Aaron Donald and Jalen Ramsey, the top rusher in the league and the top cover guy in the league. Not that the Browns are going to be acquiring guys like that, but what I'm trying to say is that perhaps both positions have equal importance, and this was the area of the market where the Browns could still find inefficiency. I think like tight end, safety is still a market that probably is slightly underpaid. Like for how much tight ends in the middle of the field impact a football game, you think guys who could eliminate that type of stuff would be paid a little more, and they're just not yet. So slide in Johnson rather than a $15+ million edge rusher, and we can get to that perhaps that is still on the table. But this is the perfect mirror, and Dan, you said it in your post about the type of signing that this front office would be attracted to. So after you lay it out like that, it makes a lot of sense.
Scott, what did you think?
Well, my first reaction was to go back and look through all the stories we wrote on our free agency suggestions from this past week to see who mentioned John Johnson. And when I saw that Doug had mentioned John Johnson, I knew we were going to hear about it tonight. So Thank you for living up to everything I expected there, Doug. Look, I had edge rusher at the top of my list for what I thought they should do. And just, I mean, if we don't know that this was priority number one, maybe Trey Hendrickson was priority number one and it just hasn't happened yet. But the fact that they did go out and spend money at safety, I think maybe tells me that they have maybe plans for Grant Delpit that go beyond just being a traditional safety. Because, if you're going to have three safeties on the field, and if you're playing nickel most of the time and you have, your slot corner out there, you have one linebacker, you're maybe moving Delpit into a kind of a hybrid role there, perhaps. So I thought about that. But beyond that, Johnson just seems like a great fit. Everybody's talking about how smart he is. He really has a pretty even split in between the box and free safety. And if you're into PFF grades, he's the only safety last year who graded above 80 in run defense, tackling, coverage, and overall defense. Nobody else did that except for him. So, and he's been consistent for, the 3 years that he's been healthy. So it wasn't like this was a big year for him. He hit free agency and cashed in. He's been doing this since he came into the league. So the Browns got a really good player for the back of the defense.